Happy Masters Sunday, everybody. Kieran Harris here, Feel Good Golf. Here is a wonderful short game tip for all of you to start the season. And this one kind of comes from one of the masters, Joe Mayo, and a guy who, when he talks, you probably want to listen up a little bit, right? And one of the things that he said to me once was like, Kieran, I don't buy that somebody could hit these, a great straight drive, whether it's 200 yards or 300 yards, sort of down towards their target, but they can't hit a 5, 10, or 15-yard chip. He goes, I don't buy that, right? And a lot of us are struggling with those little shots, right? With the contact on those shots, with the accuracy of those shots. We might be getting some chunky ones, we might be getting some thin ones, and a lot of those outcomes are related to some of the same causes. So here's one tip that's hopefully going to help you really master those shots or overcome the fear or the failure that's been happening on those shots and start to translate them to success. Okay, so here's a short little shot, right? And I've got, a couple balls here and a very short target, only about 4 yards away from me here, this little Titleist shag bag, right? Now, what a lot of us are doing on these shots, those especially as we're getting closer, right? And the swing gets shorter, right? When the swing gets a little shorter, I think we often feel like we can control it a bit more. There's a tendency to try to control it a bit more rather than to just sort of swing it, right? Like I always say, like to somebody when they're swinging a full 7-iron, they're not trying to put that club through every, inch of the arc in the downswing. It's a little more unconscious as it just moves through. And these shots can become like that too. They don't, we don't have to control every element. And sometimes giving up that control can make that swing feel a bit more free. But when we are trying to control it, some of the things that happen is we almost try to manufacture impact. And you probably know what I mean, right? So like sometimes when it's a higher wedge shot we're trying to hit, where there's that moment at the bottom where we make some reactions to try to get under it, to try to slide the club under, and that's where you can get a chunky one, or that's where you can get a really thin one that rifles across the green or out of the bunker. Or even just on a basic little pitch, sometimes as we go down and we're just looking at the ball, that club can sort of dig itself into the ground a little bit as our whole body sort of lowers and goes down to hit the ball. Both bad outcomes. I've been there before. We've all been there. So anyways, how do we get away from that? And what I just alluded to there in the idea of swinging the club can help us do that. So I think where I see a lot of players get into trouble on these short shots, and put your hand up if this is you. It was me. It has been me before, right? We get into our setup. We have good ideas. We have the right technique. We have the right club. And then in the last few seconds before we hit, we're really just looking down at the golf ball. We've lost focus on what we're trying to do with this swing, this shot, right? We might have looked at the target to start with, but now we're back on the ball. Once your eyes are on the ball for a few seconds, the only information your brain has is hit the ball, right? It doesn't have the corresponding information of where am I going with it, right? That little game of catch, connecting the dots between the ball and your target. So if you're struggling on these chip shots, here's the simple advice, right? Just think a little bit more about the target, okay? So once you get over the ball and you get into a good setup, for me, that's weight on my left foot here, right? I feel like my left shoulder's down a little bit. I'm just sort of looking at that target, in this case, this golf bag, and going, hey, I'm really just trying to swing the club in that direction, right? And pretty good. I just sort of, hit a little left of the bag there, but the contact is nice, right? Conversely, like if I just start looking at the ball for a few seconds here and I stop looking at the bag, I might hit a good shot. And actually I did hit a good shot there. It went quite a bit farther than my target. But all of a sudden, the only information my brain has is hit the ball, hit the ball. It's not thinking about how far am I hitting the ball? What am I connecting the swing to? It's, you can often think about that. That's another nice analogy, right? It's like you're almost trying to connect the club head, the ball, and your target as sort of like a linear equation in the golf swing and on these short shots, right? That's a big thing that we do in putting, right? Think about a short putt. That putter almost feels like it sort of continues, it follows through to the hole a little bit, right? And so you could do that a little bit on these short game shots as well. Feel, rather than we're trying to hit the ball, we're trying to swing at the target. So a lot of players I see who have struggled with contact in the short game, whether it's chunky, whether it's thin, they have some impact anxiety, right? As that club's getting close to the ball, they start to tense up and things tighten as they try to go, how am I going to manufacture this, right? And when they've had a lack of success, they have kind of only poor memories to draw on, so they're not going down there with a lot of confidence, and they're trying to create something every time to avoid the historical failure. And what we're suggesting here is, hey, let's get away from trying to create manufacture impact, right? Do all those funny things at the bottom, like get under it or lean the handle or whatever, and just go, could I just let this thing swing a little bit more, right? It's also the same in putting, right? Can I let the putter swing and not hit the ball, not jam the ball? So give that a try, okay? Think a little bit more about your target, whether it's a low shot or a high shot. Use your eyes to give yourself a target that's past the ball. Yeah, sure, we're going to hit the ball on the way, but almost like we're just kind of throwing the ball. We're collecting the ball on the way to our eventual target. Anyways, enjoy the Masters. It's a wicked Sunday shaping up here at Augusta. There's a great tip for everybody in their short game. Good luck as the spring starts, and we'll talk to you soon.